Hi everyone! If you haven't caught one of my reviews yet, my name is Christy Trusty and I am the owner and travel advisor for Sunshine Bird Vacations LLC. And today I'm going to be reviewing my vacation to Ireland back in 2016, September 15th through 23rd. It was a little bit longer than a week, maybe like a week and a half. So let's get into this because Ireland was so much fun, but because it's 2016, give me a little bit of lenience here. It was hard to look up like all of our plans and the costs and everything. I tried my best to get you everything that I had on our Ireland vacation. I can tell you though that I still have memories of this vacation and I really, really want to go back because Ireland is just so magical. So in 2016, my one of my best friends from college, she was actually my college roommate, Kelsey, right here, and I decided that we were going to go on a trip of Ireland, rent a car, go all around Ireland, check out all of the like really cool highlights, stay in different places, have a lot of fun. And then I met at the time I had a boyfriend. So we were kind of like planning this, and then I got a boyfriend. His name is Rob, and he's my husband now. But when he was back and being my boyfriend, and this was 2016, so if you caught my Iceland review, like right after this, we went to Iceland and got engaged. So it's a good thing I brought him with, right? But basically, he kind of wormed his way in because what he said is, "Ooh, I want to go to Ireland. I'll drive you guys." Because it's a left-hand side driving, and it was like, oh, okay, if you want to drive the whole way, all right, come along, come on and chauffeur us around, boyfriend. So it was a little chaotic looking up our plans for this one because we booked a bunch of like Airbnbs and stuff, and that was just for the two of us, and then we had to go back and like cancel them and rebook. So I was like looking and I was like, no, we didn't stay there, we stayed there. So it was very hard to like get it all down. And then we also used Furcot. Furkot. It's a free program online that helps you create these self-drive tours of any place in the world. So I definitely recommend it. It made it so much easier to kind of map out the drive, map out the points of interest, make sure you're not backtracking, all of that good stuff. So go check out Furcot if you need to create like a huge driving trip like this because it is so nice. Um, so let's move on. Thursday, September 15th. This is when it really began because our travel to Ireland started on Thursday, September 15th. From Cedar Rapids, I boarded a plane at 3:15 p.m. and I didn't get to Dublin, Ireland until Friday, the 16th of September at 9:50 a.m. So it was an overnight kind of trip. And then down here, this is my boyfriend's itinerary from Cedar Rapids. So this is what my friend and I did. And then she got on at Chicago. I think she was in Chicago and she got on the Chicago flight. So we both arrived at 9:50 a.m. on Friday to Dublin, and my husband or my boyfriend at the time, he arrived he actually went through Delta. We went through United. So through Delta, he actually had three different flights. He had to go through Detroit and then through Paris to get to Dublin. So he didn't arrive until 11:15 a.m., even though he departed earlier than us at 12:59 p.m. on Thursday. So he arrived like an hour or so later than us. So we just kind of waited at the airport for him. And then he was the one driving. So he also did the car rental booking. And that's why I don't have any information on that for you guys. I'm sorry. I don't know how much that was. He might have used points because he had a lot of work travel with a lot of points racked up for like Hertz and stuff. So I think he probably just used his points to get the car. But he was the one that rented it since he was going to do all the driving. Um, so we had to wait for him for like an hour, just hung out at the airport, and then he came. We got the car on Friday, and we went to our hotel, which was the Hilton Garden Inn, Dublin City Center. It was $204 per night. This is all like 2016 dollars. I think I looked it up now, and it is much more expensive. But back in the 2016 era, we had $204 per night, no breakfast, and it was $18 to park the car, but we were only going to stay for that one night. So one night, Friday in Dublin, kind of just checked out the city, walked around. I remember we stumbled upon a little festival of sorts. And this was our first intro to Ireland, and it was amazing. The little festival, it had beer, obviously, it had music, and that's where we first heard that song. Um, I I forget its name, but it's basically like, um, oh man, how does it go? It's Drunken Nights, like my Drunken Nights, and it ends like very, very risque. Like basically, he keeps coming home and seeing something wrong in his house. And every single place that plays this song, like online, ends it super early. But the festival we went to did the whole dirty song, which at the very end talked about how he wasn't noticing like all these things were different because his wife was cheating on him. So it was a funny song, like one of those like Irish songs that just gets you in the mood and drinking and it's just, I need to look that up for you guys and put that in like the description what song that is. But it was the whole dirty song and it was so funny and I remember that moment because we were having a blast. And then obviously we went and we slept and then the very next morning we headed out on our very long trip around Ireland. So we took off from Dublin and about an hour away from Dublin. This was on Saturday, September 17th was Wicklow National Park, which is the largest national park in Ireland. So we wanted to check it out. We did a few trails just to get out and walking during these long drives, get outside into the nature. I remember it was very cold. I had a windbreaker on. I had layers because it could be cold, it could be warmer depending on the sun and the rain. So definitely pack layers. So Wicklow National Park, we did a little bit there. Didn't see too many pictures that we had from that one. But after that one, we did about an hour and a half drive to get to Point Abbey, which is one of the best examples of a medieval Cistercian abbey in Ireland. I remember there was like a little tour there. I think it was very, very quick, maybe 15-30 minute tour. I do remember it was very, very interesting tour though, but it is all out kind of in the open. There aren't like any, I think there might be one indoor space with like a tomb or something. But that one, it was just interesting. And what you'll find from Ireland here is that it's all about the falling rocks. It's what we call it. Oh, look, more falling rocks. It's the ruins because there's so much history in Ireland. It's fun to go someplace and just see all this history just laying out for you everywhere. After that, we drove about 20 minutes to get to Kilkenny. That's where we were staying for the night at the San Antonio guest house. That was $135 per night. All of these prices were split between the three of us, which made this vacation like very affordable back in that time frame for all of us. There was breakfast included and free parking, so it worked out really well for us. And it was like a 3 minute drive. So I think we actually walked it, like maybe a 30-minute walk to Kilkenny Castle. And we went and we did like a tour of Kilkenny Castle, which was built in 2060 to control a fording point of the River Nore and the junction of several routaways. So again, more history. I don't really remember Kilkenny too much. We must have just went to sleep. And when we woke up, we got on the road right away. 11 minutes from Kilkenny was Dunmore Cave. That's a limestone chamber with impressive calcite formations. So you see the stairwell here. It started like up, and there was a nice stairwell to walk all the way down into the cave, but it was a lot of walking down, which means a lot of walking back up. So just make sure you know that. And there were like lights, and I cannot tell you if we took a tour or if this was a self-explore. I do not remember that. So sorry. But then we went, oh my gosh. Yeah, I think we did Rock of Cashel. I might have this backwards. I think we did Rock of Cashel though, which was 47-minute drive from Dunmore Cave. And that's the most impressive cluster of medieval buildings in Ireland. So that was a really cool place to explore. Again, more falling rocks, but it had some more indoor spaces than some of the places. And then from there, we did a 14-minute drive, got to Cahir Castle, which is one of the largest and best preserved castles in Ireland. And we took a little tour of that. And then about an hour away, that's where we came to Cobh, which is spelled Cobh, but is pronounced Cove. That was a little hard for us because we didn't know we were calling it like Cobb or something, and some local was like, "No, you're in Cove." So just be careful about what you call things. Maybe look up pronunciations. But that was about an hour drive away, and I'm going to tell you, this is where we first realized that we had made a mistake not purchasing the insurance on the car. Because while all of the roads up to that point were very, very small, they were at least like drivable. The Cove roads, it was like, I kid you not, it was like going down a hill. It was like boop, and then like steep turn, boop, 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 just like that. It was insane. And it was like, I think it was a two-way. So like somebody else is coming up and it's like there's nowhere for the vehicle to go. Like what, how do you get around that curve? So at that point, like after we made it into Cove, into our Water's Edge hotel, which was $127 per night and for just that one night. Um, my husband did call the car company and he was like, "Hey, can you meet us in like the next place?" Like, well, he said, "Can I add the insurance?" And they said, "No, we got to look at the car first since you already have it. You might have damaged it and are trying to add the insurance now." So he was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. Maybe you could meet us in our next destination." So in our next town over, that's where they met us and they added the insurance. We just had to get through one more day without wrecking the car. But definitely get the insurance just right away if you're doing this road trip in Ireland because it's on the left-hand side, the roads are teeny, and when you go into these coastal towns, the roads are insane. Um, and I will say Cove has one of my, I don't know, I really want to go back to Cove. Cove was so memorable. So pretty, like small little coastal town, water views. You can see these water views were amazing. We were right in this hotel right on the water's edge. That's why it was called Water's Edge Hotel. Um, and it was just beautiful. You could hear the sea. Like we were, they actually have, I'll go over in the next slide actually, what they have there, what we did the next morning. But we walked around the town. We saw this church. The church was beautiful. Like there's history everywhere. And then we got into this pub for dinner and they were having a trad session, which was just, they go in and they start like, I don't know, making music. And it was so memorable. Just everything in Ireland is just so alive and festive and happy. So it's just one of the, I don't know, one of the best memories I have there is from Cove. Um, just hanging out in that pub with my friends. It was a lot of fun. So, anyways, we stayed overnight at that Water's Edge Hotel, and the very next day on Monday, before we headed out, we went to the Titanic Experience, which is the former White Star Line ticket office, and they offer like experiential exhibits on the Titanic and its sinking. And it was actually the last port of call. So Ireland had two ports of call for the Titanic in Belfast and in Cobh. Then Cobh was the very last one, so the last stop before they went off on their journey and ended up sinking. So there's so much history in Cobh. So I definitely recommend adding Cobh to your stop, just to see the Titanic experience, see all the history that is around everywhere. And then from there we went to Blarney Castle. That was a 40-minute drive from Cobh. And if you haven't heard of Blarney Castle, they have there the Blarney Stone, which is a legendary block of carboniferous limestone. It's literally just in this wall, and you have to bend over backwards, and somebody has to prop you up so you don't die, you don't fall down this hole and die, and then you kiss it. And supposedly you get granted the gift of gab, which is the talent for eloquence, charm, and persuasion. So you tell me, did I get the gift of gab? Tell me. I don't know if I did or not because I don't think I'm super eloquent, but that's we did that. Each one of us took a turn. That's actually me in that photo kissing it. So I did do it. And you can see here you wait around the top of it. It was kind of if you are afraid of heights like my boyfriend husband at that time, like that was a hard wait for him. And he was scared, but he did it. I was proud of him. He kissed the rock. And it's also their germiest tourist destination because as you can imagine, you're kissing a rock that a ton of other people kissed, and let's just hope nobody has mono, right? They did sanitize it between each person. I did notice they were like sanitizing and sanitizing themselves and all. They were trying to keep themselves free of germs, but imagine if you had to work there, helping people go over. Um, so anyways, I will say that castle is more than just the Blarney Stone. I loved the castle grounds there. They had this amazing poison garden with all the information, like it had all of the poison plants and what they were used for, and I don't know. It was a beautiful place to visit. You could spend hours at this Blarney Castle. Definitely recommend. Um, After that, about 14 minutes away was Ross Castle, which is a 15th century tower house. I think I saw online it was temporarily closed. I don't know it. I don't think we actually went and saw it. We did this kayaking tour from Killarney, which is where we were staying. We did that kayaking tour in the lake that was around like right next to Ross Castle. So this is Ross Castle right here, and here we all are doing our kayaking tour. They took us under rocks and caves, like underwater caves, like that kind of stuff. It was so fun. And honestly, only $100 for three of us. So I don't know. It can't be too much more expensive now. I think it was a pretty short little kayaking trip, but they gave us, looks like they gave us wetsuits and kept us warm. And nobody fell in the water, so that's always good. But that was a lot of fun. And then we stayed at the Killarney Self-Catering Rookery Mews Apartments, and we stayed in Killarney for 2 nights, so it was $352 for those 2 nights. Um, and the next day we took a day trip from Killarney. About an hour away was this Bally Carbery Castle, and this was one of honestly, this whole Tuesday was super, super fun. We met up with my friend's parents, so that's her dad right there, and her mom is somewhere else. I don't see her in a photo. I must not have grabbed it, but her dad and her mom were also in Ireland, and we met up with them for this day trip, and we went to this Bally Carbery Castle, which was formerly held by the McCarthy clan. It was damaged in 1652 by the Cromwellian forces. So look, what I'm saying is like history everywhere in Ireland. It was so much fun. But this castle is in ruins and they just let you climb all over it. I'm sure there's some like risk to that. So definitely be careful, maybe test your steps, but you can see this was what I had on that front page when I was introducing this review. And that's me right there in the little window at the very top. And we went all over the place up there. It was so much fun climbing around that. And then about 22-minute drive away, we stopped in Waterville Cary, which was just a little like coastal town, very charming, some craft stores, some pubs, had some lunch. And then from there, we did a 14-minute drive to the Dairymaid House. So that's the home of Irish politician and statesman Daniel O'Connell, and it's protected as a national monument. So you can go through the house. I don't really remember it, which means it probably wasn't super interesting to me. But I know that we did take a tour of the house and walk through it. And then from there was a 17-minute drive to the Stagstone Fort. This fort is thought to have been built during the late Iron Age, probably somewhere between like 300 and 400 AD, as a defensive stronghold for a local lord or king. So like super, super fun history everywhere. And again, this was one of those things you can just climb all over the place. And we took some fun fit photos you can see there like on the steps. So it was a lot of fun. And then from there, we went back to Killarney I can't remember what kind of how long that we were away. Maybe like only an hour or so. Um, and we did an Irish whiskey experience at 5 p.m. for the myself, my boyfriend at the time, and my friend. And that was $23 each, so not bad at all, just to taste some Irish whiskeys. So that was fun. So very experienced. I don't remember anything about the Irish whiskeys, probably because I got drunk off of them. So then we slept in Killarney for our second night, and we got up nice and early, took off to see the Dingle Peninsula. So we, I don't know, I think that name is so funny, Dingle Peninsula. But it was super, super fun, like lots of beautiful coastal views, just a nice drive. The I don't have any times on this. Sorry. I must have forgot to add like how long the drive was for all of this stuff. But we did the Dingle Peninsula. We went to the Dunbeg Fort, which is a promontory fort, a type of ancient defended settlement built on a natural cliff in the Iron Age. So more history, more falling rocks. It was fun to go around and see all of that. Then we stopped at Bunratty Castle, which is a large 15th century tower house. You can see the inside here. It's a little bit more preserved, or like yeah, 15th century. So I mean, it's a little older than some of the other stuff we saw. So you'd hope it'd be a little bit better preserved. But super fun to see that. And then we ended at the Woodfield House Hotel in Limerick, and we stayed for one night for $98. Um, and then from Limerick, we took off and we went to the Cliffs of Moher, which was about an hour from Limerick. So these are just sheer cliffs soaring 214 meters above the waves on the wild west coast. So that's just really amazing. It was a beautiful sight. I know they had a little inside welcome center and it was raining for like the first portion of it. So we were inside that little welcome center, just like reading through all the history. And finally, the rain let up enough to go and take this photo. But that is, I guess, September's issue is maybe rain. I don't know. Um, but you can see it's still impressive, even on a rainy day. Still super impressive. And then from there, we took an hour drive to get to Galway, where with the Periwinkle bed and breakfast, it was 140 for one night. I actually did end up, my friend wanted to get like a clawdog ring from somewhere, a specific jeweler in Galway, so we ended up going and getting that. We met up with her parents for dinner. I remember that because we went to the dinner place and it was again so festive and fun, and they were having live music and everybody was dancing, and it's like, man, why isn't every place in America like this? You just walk in and everybody's having an amazing time and there's live music and everything. I would love that. But there's not. So you gotta go to Ireland to experience it. All right, so on Friday, we took the trip back to Dublin from Galway. So about an hour from Galway, we went to Clonmacnoise, which is a ruined monastery founded in 544 AD. It was just pretty much falling rocks again. The fun part, this is the detour we kind of took because we wanted to see it, was Newgrange. Because it is a prehistoric monument, an exceptionally grand passage tomb built during the Neolithic period around 3100 BC. So it's actually older than Stonehenge in the pyramids, which I was like, wow, okay, we need to go veer off and we need to see that. So we went to Newgrange, we walked around it, we saw the history on it. There's like, oh my gosh, it's very interesting to see. So that was about a 2 hour drive though from Clonmacnoise, so a little bit of a drive, and then an hour drive back to Dublin. So if you're in Dublin, you could take an hour, go to Newgrange, and come back an hour. That's not too bad. And then in Dublin, we decided to stay again at the Hilton Garden Inn Custom House. Was that the same one? Yeah, it was the same one. I don't know why it has a different name, but it's the same one, the city center, Dublin. And then that was $230 per night with breakfast. And we stayed, I think, 3 extra nights. So on Saturday, we actually bought 1 day Dublin passes for three different adults. It was like 79 euros each. And apparently, I failed to figure out the actual price, but I think that was like, I don't know, we'll say like $85 or something in USD. So we used that to go to the Guinness Storehouse and visit that for free with the pass. I think we did some other things, but I didn't record them anywhere, so sorry about that. But I think we used this pass to its fullest. So the Guinness Storehouse is actually a seven-story visitor experience. It's housed in a former fermentation plant built in 1902. It opened in 2000 and it showcases the brewing process history and advertising of Guinness, culminating in a pint at the panoramic gravity bar. So all the way at the top there is their gravity bar, and it's basically just you pour your own pint of Guinness. You sit up here, you enjoy the views of Dublin with your two Guinness on the side or whatever is going on. So that was a really, really fun visit, and you get to learn a lot about it. I think Conan O'Brien visited it, so you're gonna have to look up Conan's video on YouTube because he's super funny going through it. He's like, okay, when do we get to the free Guinness part? And that's kind of how you feel as you go through it. You're like, okay, this is great, but where's my free Guinness? Or I guess it's not free. You're paying for it, but yeah. So that was super fun. Definitely recommend that. I remember there was some good shawarma next door. My husband loves shawarma, and he like whenever he can find good shawarma, it's like an amazing thing. So that's why I remember that. And then at later that night, I think it was like 6:45 p.m., we had to get tickets to this Bram Stoker's Castle Dracula experience. So this is an attraction that explores the life of the Irish author Bram Stoker and the story of his famous 1897 blood-curdling, spine-chilling masterpiece of Gothic horror, Dracula. So of course you need to go and see it, right? So we did get it looks like we got a discount for being a Dublin pass holder. So again, we used that pass to the fullest. I don't know how much it was without the discount, but with the discount it was only like we'll say like $25 USD because I don't know Euro to USD right now. But it this was a very interesting experience. Like we went through I'm like trying to rack my brain because I remember this kind of, it was almost like a haunted house. Like you're walking through, and there's like scenes and actors and stuff like that. It's almost like a interactive haunted house, almost like telling you the story of Dracula. And it was really, really cool. I don't know if they've updated it since. Like it might be a little more theatrical now, for all I know. I think I looked it up online. It said like a graveyard auditorium or something, so they might have expanded. I think they're still there though. So definitely fun time, and we liked going and doing that. It was a lot of fun. So then we slept in Dublin, and when we woke up the next day, we had actually booked this Giant's Causeway Belfast Titanic Experience Black Taxi Tour, Carrica Reed Rope Bridge, Belfast Antrim Giant's Causeway. This is, I forget which tour company this is with, but we booked this. It looks like we booked it on September 17th for September 25th. So we must have been like making decisions on the fly here, is all I can think. So on Sunday we did this Belfast day trip, and honestly, they do say if you want to experience Northern Ireland, you definitely want to do like a black taxi tour. Maybe that's the name of them. But I don't think so. I think the Black Taxi Tour was when we got there. It was a different company that took us there and then like gave us all these things. Um, so they do say if you want to go to Northern Ireland though, make sure that you're safe because it is obviously there was some violence between Catholic nationalists and Protestant unionist communities during the Troubles. The Troubles are now over, but there's still stuff going on, and that's why they say just to be safe if you want to go see those peace walls, which are a series of separation barriers built from 1969 onwards to reduce that violence in the Troubles. If you want to go see those, they say definitely do Black Taxi Tour. That is the safe way to go and learn about all of that and to see the peace walls. So they took us there, they did that, and then they had an option. We could either go see the Belfast Titanic experience or we could go to the Black Taxi Tour. Oh, okay, that's what it was. It was either, so we did Giant's Causeway either way, but it was Belfast Titanic Experience or the Black Taxi Tour. Since we had already gone to the Cobh Titanic Experience, we decided to do the Black Taxi Tour instead, which was good. We got all the history of Belfast and everything from that. And then we went to Giant's Causeway, and oh my goodness, Giant's Causeway is so beautiful. We spent so much time there just walking around. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site featuring around 40,000 interlocking basalt columns formed 50 to 60 million years ago by rapid cooling of lava. So they are really cool. You can see all the details there. They're like little steps, and you're just stepping around. So you got to be super, super careful and wear good footwear when doing this. I remember they were very slippery. Some of them were wet, so you just had to be very, very careful walking around here. But we loved it. Walked all over the place and just had a really good time. So that was our Sunday Belfast day trip. It was fun. We only got one day up there, and then we came back and slept in Dublin. And the very next day, it was goodbye Ireland because we had to leave. Um, so. This was my schedule, so I left at about 11:30 a.m. My boyfriend had to leave at 10:10 a.m. He had three different legs again, but was flying through Atlanta and then Detroit instead of Paris. And we met back up at Cedar Rapids. Look at that. It's like 8:13 p.m. versus 8:31 p.m. So we were basically there at the same time and we're able to drive home together. So that worked well. Um, excuse me. So, anyways, that was our amazing Ireland vacation. I cannot wait to go back there. It was super, super fun. I loved spending time with my friends there. I'd love to just go by myself with my family, maybe experience a little bit more of each of those towns because I feel like that's where the magic was, is that if I was doing it over again, I definitely wouldn't schedule as much stuff. I just leave large chunk of times open for just experiencing Ireland in its finest, which is like going to pubs, getting a pint, talking to the people there, immersing yourself in the culture. I would definitely say give yourself some time for all of that. Okay? So, if you do want to learn more about Ireland, I did create this unofficial guide to Ireland. It includes 15 plus pages of information, a section for each region, including top attractions, restaurants, when to visit, how to get around, general information such as culture and entry requirements, packing essentials, what should you pack? Um, and also I have like savings tips, travel tips, all the tips in there. And plus you also get access to annual updates, so you're never stuck with last year's information, and those updates are free. So very, very good deal. I think I do put this all into my Etsy shop, the Sunshine Bird shop. It's digital only. It's delivered as a Canva view only for $4.95 if you're a traveler, or if you're a fellow travel advisor that wants to take this guide, customize it, rebrand it, and send it to your clients. I do have an editable Canva template available for $14.95. So you can go and find that as well. I'll put the links to both of those in the description. And as always, if you want to use me as your travel advisor, please reach out. I'd love to help you plan an amazing Ireland vacation or any vacation for that matter. I love traveling and I love travel planning. It is definitely a passion of mine, and I can't wait to schedule something for you. I'd love to plan. So just reach out to me and let me know what you're thinking, and we can go from there. But thanks so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you guys later. Bye.